Hello, I'm Kate, Profit with the Planets. I have not made a video in about 2 years of astrology, which took me out. So I'm back in action. I did a bit of forecasting on Twitter beginning of the year and I wrote it out. And a few people were like, what does this mean? And I said, I'll do a video. I'm doing this one free. I'm hoping to get a Patreon and a podcast up this year. I will be doing some paid forecasts back to normal. I'm going to make them quite juicy. I'll be doing assets on the markets like NVIDIA, Tesla, forecasting. I haven't really done that yet. Waiting for the markets to come down. They're too toppy. It's a silly bull market. So now we've got some levels and the astrology can show us what's going on a little bit. Now we'll get a bit of volatility. This is a crypto forecast. At the end of the year, we've got this really strong astrology called Uranus trine Pluto. I think it'll push everything up. I'd say Q3. And I'm going to show you some astrology specific to crypto today that fits. Bitcoin's having this crash in March. I'll quickly show you what that's about. People just want to know when it's going up and down. We can't say that for sure, but we can certainly have a look. Some caution periods and some good periods. One chart of Bitcoin to show you what on earth is going on in March. We said that February would be terrible. What that is about is we've got a couple of things going on. We have Saturn on Uranus. We have Saturn opposite Saturn. What we've got coming in March, there's a lunar eclipse, and I know a lot of crypto traders know the lunars aren't great. It's due 14th of March 2025. We know the Virgo series, known as Cardinal, are known to shop early, so always have traders in assets for an eclipse about a month before. I believe we're seeing it here. So here's the eclipse. Saturn is opposite this eclipse. So we knew the eclipse would be awful for markets, but it's falling on the Saturn on Bitcoin's chart. And then it's also opposite Uranus. And then this Saturn, a couple of things going on. That's when we really expect a problem. What we will have, this will come over here early March. Do I think we're out of it? It's really hard to say. If you hit those big levels, only 3% maybe at best are using astrology and everyone's using levels. It's really hard at this point to know if there's more. Might get down to that 74. You want to wait for the chart to issue a buy, basically. We've got the astrology, let the chart do the speaking. While we thought February, March would be pretty terrible, it's everyone's favorite, Mercury retrograde. I'm doing this on the last day of February. Here comes the shadow. Traditionally, crypto does not do well in the shadow. The shadow goes until this red day is the day of Mercury retrograde. So we're looking to the 14th to be on the lookout. Anything could happen. It may be related to an exchange. It could be nothing. We may have seen the move already, but historically, I think it's 8 years in a row we have seen an effect during Mercury retrograde shadow. I would be open to anything, whether it's an exchange, whether it's a story. There's a reason this is selling off heavily. We may see it here. It's not to say it will definitely happen, but be on the lookout. When Mercury retrograde starts, which is the 16th, Mercury retrograde itself, Bitcoin doesn't mind this, and it's actually done okay during the actual Mercury retrograde. So that is until April 12th, but we've got to be really mindful of that eclipse. And this is red because it's always the craziest day when things hit the fan and go chaos. So be aware that this 14th, 15th could get a little bit chaotic. Stock markets and crypto, one may affect the other. Any financial astrologer isn't not going to say, yes, it's going to be fine with this around. I'd say we're running a 60-40 to the upside. Something will happen. You want to exercise a lot of caution until this 15th. Maybe the eclipse shows later. Then we come into from April 13 to 26, the post-shadow. It's a Mercury retrograde phase. Crypto has traditionally disliked this one the most and done the strongest moves, but I feel that maybe we may not follow that this time because of what's going on. Bear in mind, it's coming back in July. I want to get into some Q3 because for me, that's the best part of Bitcoin. Put it out there. Crypto, I think it was better in the last quarter. And we've got this in August. Right, I'm going to read off some notes in front of me, a little bit of period where I'm not so keen on. May, June, and I'd say particularly June, we've got a Jupiter opposite Pluto and a Saturn square Pluto. They are not good. Okay, I think you're going to be a little bit careful for that. And then July, we're in that Mercury retrograde again. Now, one really good transit that I want to show you, which I think could be quite positive. Now, that'd fit very well with Bitcoin liking the Mercury retrograde. And if we're at some good levels, I'll just show you what that is. We're still guessing the exact time. If this were right, we've got Jupiter on the moon, but we've got a big transit where we know the timing is right. Uranus coming in to trine Jupiter. And I think you could even see that maybe towards the end of June. This is where it gets a bit complicated with the Mercury retrograde shadow. 5th of July. Got to be aware that there is this Saturn square Pluto though. I would be surprised if we don't get a move into Uranus trine Jupiter. This is the juice for me. We've got to be careful that's there. It's hard to know which one's going to do the most work. There is some very strong astrology that's coming in the sky. I've noticed it really affects crypto markets, whatever's going on universally for everyone. We have a really great transit, Pluto trine Uranus. This is going to be around August. It is a huge market cycle using Pluto and Uranus. The square in 2013, I think it was the European financial crisis. I remember trading something was really bad then. So we're getting a really positive version. So we're coming into this Q4, and that's where I think things get really good. The Bitcoin chart has a couple of other really good transits. We're going to have Jupiter trine Uranus. We're going to have another Uranus trine Jupiter on this chart. Really strong. But there's something. So I want to show you in September, lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces comes on the Uranus placement of Bitcoin. Uranus rules crypto. But with those other transits, that could be pretty good. The only thing you've got to be careful of is that this eclipse is opposite the Saturn. Sometimes that's not great. There may be a mixed reaction, but I do think along with that really strong market transit that we've got of the Pluto trine Uranus, it should lift out. It looks to me that there's a bit of a pattern coming where we've got to be a little bit careful for mid-year. And then I think we're looking into this at the last part of the year to give strength. I have seen a couple of forecasts that seem to say the same thing, got nothing to do with astrology. At the same time, there's our Uranus trine Jupiter. So that's two really good transits, and there's Jupiter trine Uranus. We've actually got 3 transits. I'll be pretty surprised if this doesn't go up. Usually 3 things like we've got going on in March with the negative. I think things just come in to get a lot better here. So September would be my play. No financial advice provided, but that is my summary of how I think crypto is going to go. Now, some really important general astrology in the skies is Saturn, Neptune. I do think this will affect crypto markets generally. We had the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in 2022. That was NFTs, stimulus checks when everyone came in the markets, everything went crazy. We're replacing Jupiter with Saturn. Saturn, I say, is the police. Jupiter's the party. Expect a really dull vibe. This is in May. They're going to dance together for 2 years. So this transit is not over anytime soon. We're going water to fire. I think this is going to feel a bit lackluster. And from an astrology point of view, if you're expecting the same momentum that we've seen over the last 2 years, I don't think you're going to get it. We've got Neptune moving from water to fire. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. It's not really going to like it. It's coming in really soon. And I just think any of these bounces are going to be a bit lackluster. I've actually said before on my forecast, I thought they were going to regulate the memes. I find it really hard to believe that this sort of junky end of crypto will be allowed to go on as it is here. But obviously with Trump in it, always sort of trying to work that out, how the Trump thing comes in. But I just don't see it with this. Now, Jupiter's coming out of Gemini, Jupiter and Cancer. This is June, where I said I don't really like June that much for the markets. And you've got to remember that sometimes Bitcoin goes with it, particularly if it's a little bit weak. The conviction's not like as it has been. So we've got to watch Jupiter changing signs into Cancer. So that's going to be June. And another really big thing is coming. Uranus is getting to this end of Taurus. 29 degrees is a critical degree. There could be a really big hiccup here. It might have to do with banking. It's ruling money. Certainly there's this trade war element. June, July, the market. So we could get a big story. I'm not really keen on this June, July period here. And it's Mercury retrograde shadow again. So put a bit of caution into mid-year. If you get some good levels, I don't think you have too much of a problem. You just have to play it a little bit, watch the levels, watch the momentum. But this is a bit of a no-go zone that gets better. Sort of September, October, and you may get this okay of August. My 2025 for crypto. Astrology has probably been your best indicator on the chart to show you what's in advance.